In 1967, Israel quadrupled its territory by capturing huge tracts of land from Jordan, Egypt, and Syria. Virtually overnight, teeny tiny little Israel, which was only 9 miles wide at its narrowest point, was suddenly in control of the West Bank and East Jerusalem, the Golan Heights, the Sinai Desert, and the Gaza Strip. Many Israeli leaders assumed they would trade most of this land in exchange for peace. Many in the relatively dovish Labor government had no intention of hanging on to the West Bank or the Sinai Peninsula forever. But some of the more hawkish voices in the opposition parties floated the idea of hanging on to the territories. They would provide extra security. Plus, they were historically Jewish land. Land in the state of Israel had been forced to give up during negotiations in 1947, UN partition plan, and after the war in 1948. Any occupation is supposed to be temporary. But after the Six-Day War, Israel captured territory which is technically prohibited by the Fourth Geneva Convention. It's still holding that territory, which is also prohibited by the Fourth Geneva Convention. Some scholars, on the other side, reject the premise that Israel is an occupying force. Here's what they argue. They argue that in 1967, the West Bank didn't really belong to anybody. The Jordanians had seized control illegally, annexing land that didn't belong to them. When Israel took control, they were actually liberating that land from the Jordanian occupation. Under this interpretation of events, the West Bank isn't actually occupied, which means the Fourth Geneva Convention just doesn't apply. Instead, they argue the West Bank is disputed. This isn't a widely accepted opinion, but it's an opinion held by a number of experts in international law, and that's important to state.
If you want to get the full story, check out Unpacking Israeli History, link in the bio.